Earlier promised. Today we are having Kimilili Member of Parliament. I'm talking about Honorable Didmus Barasa here with me in studio, and we'll be having a conversation on so many issues. So allow me to introduce him to you. Good evening, Mheshimiwa. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you very much.
Maybe, so many people want to know, where did you get that signature hat? Like, what's the story behind it? Maybe we can start from there.
There is no story behind my signature cap.
Yeah.
It is just part of my dress code. Just like Kenneth Kaunda invented the Kaunda suit. I invented this cap because when I bought it and I put it on for the first time, many of my friends told me, I look very smart.
You do.
And I think in the history of our Kenyan parliament, this is the only cap that is allowed. This is a royal cap. I go with it in parliament.
Okay.
So it's part of my dress code.
So do you have a couple, maybe different colors? Or I know I see you with red.
Yes. I have about 30.
Oh, okay.
And I replenish them after every 6 months. I have an order coming in, maybe of about 5 after every 6 months.
Okay.
Because they get old, so I keep replacing them.
Oh, that's interesting, because my next question is going to be, remember in 2019 in Kibera, the one that now Governor Simbarati took, Kali kurudishia, awa, alienda nayo kabisa. I
donated to him as his gift, because the Bible says that you don't repay evil by evil.
Okay.
So he came and committed some atrocities on me. So instead of me paying back evil with evil, I gave him that my cap as a present.
Okay, at least he has a piece of...
And then him, once in a while, I see Junaid Mohammed wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know. So let's get to the nitty-gritties, of course. And we begin with 4 days ago, you posted on X that leaders who are serving must do so with diligence, knowing they must also transform lives of those who elected them. How do you think we can strengthen transparency and accountability in our leadership? Let's start with that.
First, transparency and accountability can only be complete and properly understood by the people when you know what the people expect of you. Mm-hmm. Every time, for example, when a government is formed, each and every community will usually desire us that one of their own should be appointed either as a minister or a PS. Recently, when ambassadors were posted to various countries, every part of the country was anxious to go through the list and say, where is one of our own? So we have got this expectation that regions or other communities where these people come from expect from this particular person. So this person must be able to understand what the community expects of him or her. For example, we have got a set of syllabuses. We have got the syllabus of government, that is basically the constitution and the various statutes, in terms of reference of the job description that one should be able to deliver on behalf of the government of Kenya. But then we have another syllabus that the Kenyans, the people from your region, your tribesman, will be able to look at in terms of saying, this is our own. Is he delivering the way we expect? So when you've been given an opportunity to serve in this country, you must know that you have got two sets of interests to meet. You have the interest of the country and the interest of the community where you come from.
But isn't it one and the same thing, considering, for example, if you're in the National Assembly talking about issues like the Affordable Housing Bill, it will impact those in the grassroots?
Yeah, but we have people who are elected by a popular vote, whom, when we evaluate them on how they have performed nationally, mm-hmm. they get an A. But the people from where this person comes from, they will send this person home, right? Mm-hmm. So the interests of the community are very important. I'll give you an example. Sure. If today I'm appointed the CS in charge of water, and I have a national budget for water, I must find a way to ensure that my people are able to count the benefits that I have done for them. They should be able to say that this minister for water who comes from this particular area, when he came here, when he was appointed, he or she has increased the coverage. He has increased the number of homesteads that are now accessing clean water. Failure to meet the interests of the people where you come from, you will see the people heckling you.
Okay.
If you hold a position in government, either appointed, selected, nominated, or elected, and you fail to meet the demands of your people, the people will vent their frustrations against you, they will boo you, they will heckle you down. So it's a balancing act. I'll give you an example of when I was a young boy. Mm-hmm. We had this man who was then Minister for Trade and Industry called Dr. Mombasa Road, a very educated man, very knowledgeable man. The contribution of this man to the development of this country cannot be understated. It is very clear that Mombasa Road was one of the best ministers for trade and industry that Kenya we ever had in the history of our times. But the people of Raja Kimilili send him home.
Okay.
They feel like the man never did anything for them. Yeah, that's why you see at times when you see senior government officers being booed, being heckled.
You've been seeing it lately.
Absolutely, it's because the people are venting. So you must come up with a way on how you are going to brand what the government is doing from your area, even if it's not in your docket. And then once you brand them properly, you must also identify those projects with yourself during at the point of launching, at the point of public participation, identification. You must be seen to be playing a pivotal role in ensuring that these projects are properly funded, they are properly identified, and you run away with it. Mm-hmm. So that's why if I were a minister, for example, for labor, for example, if I'm a minister for labor and the CS for roads is launching a road in my constituency, I must be there and appear to have been the one who have suggested to the CS roads that this road is very important.
But isn't that just PR?
It's not just PR, unless if you are sleeping. When you are an occupier of a public office, it is incumbent upon you to ensure that you are a part of each and every process of what will result into a project to be done from an area where you are coming from. Mm. You must be part of the team that will identify this project. You must be part of the team that will be prioritizing these projects between this and that, which one should come first. And you must do it, in a manner that the people will know that one of our own is there. The reason why people fight during elections, the reason why we have mayhem in this country when it comes to a presidential vote, it's because everybody fights to be part of that table. We have had the previous regime, especially the Moi regime, that made every part of the country believe that you only benefit from the share of government if one of your own is part of those who are arranging to share the cake. That's why people fight. That's why communities will feel left out.
Okay.
If one of their own is not named among those who sit in the cabinet as cabinet ministers, or if there is no one from their community who sits in government as principal secretary or as an accounting officer. So people will fight. And that's why we have told our president that we have a duty as Kenya Kwanza government to disabuse this fact, to tell the rest of the country that you can still get development even if there is nobody from your community who sits in the cabinet as a minister. Even if there is nobody in your community who is a principal secretary, the government will come knocking on your door and do some developments.
Okay.
So we have a responsibility. And I think if you ask me, every opportunity that I have gotten to engage with our president, to engage in one-on-one with him, I have always told him that the legacy which he will leave behind this country is to develop this country equitably and fairly, so that Kenyans can forget that you only get developments if one of your own is sitting in government.
It is high time we move away from
Absolutely.
that narrative.
Absolutely.
But you mentioned one word, prioritizing, which is key. And especially let's talk about you as an MP and the role that you play in the National Assembly. We're at a time in this country where most Kenyans seem to be disappointed with leadership based on the legislative agenda that is coming out of Parliament. Do you then think that Parliament is compromised? Why I'm asking this, it's because it seems that leaders, and especially our members of Parliament, are not coming out strong on issues that are affecting Kenyans.
I want to agree that the majority of Kenyans are disappointed with the Parliament. And I will explain to you why. Mm-hmm. The drafters of our Constitution, and even if before I come to that, the reason, the qualification of the statement that the majority of Kenyans are not happy with the Parliament is usually manifested during election period. The number of members of Parliament who are sent home packing, the number is almost over 60%, meaning that many Kenyans don't have confidence with the National Assembly, with the Parliament, both the National Assembly and the Senate. They feel like Parliament is not responsive to their plans, is not responsive to their plight, is not responding to their wish. This is so because it is not Parliament and that has created that disconnect.
Yeah.
It is our laws. You know, the drafters of the Constitution, 2010 Constitution, they went across this country. Many Kenyans and many experts appeared before the Committee of Experts at Bomas of Kenya to give their views, and the Kenyans were of the view that they should be the one that driving the activities of Parliament, both the National Assembly and the Senate. Mm-hmm. And then we anchored into our Constitution that there is no project that the government of Kenya should implement, or the Parliament of Kenya should not appropriate any money to fund a project until that project or that piece of legislation has been subjected to the public participation. Mm-hmm. But there is no act of Parliament that unpacks public participation. Kenyans feel like they should be the one to be consulted in terms of do we want this project to proceed or not, or in terms of these 10 proposals, which one is most urgent, which one that should be given first priority. But currently, the laws that governs public participation is not explicit. It doesn't mean how many will approve a project before it progresses. You know, I would want to see a situation, a scenario where when you say you are doing this road and 80% of the people who turn up in that public participation say no, then you don't proceed. But there is no threshold. There is no threshold. Today, the law only recognizes that public participation was done. It doesn't go to an extent of saying that public participation was done, but 80% of those who came to give their views were against this project.
Okay.
You only need to look at an attendance sheet that, of course, there is evidence that a meeting was convened in this particular social hall. Kenyans were invited through a newspaper advert or through a public address system that came around. So that's why, apart from them appearing to give views, most of them will say, I said this project should not proceed, but Parliament seemed to have gone ahead to progress with this bill, with these pieces of legislation, because there is a lacuna. You know, there is a lacuna in the way we do our public participation.
But away from public participation, what about parliamentary independence? Because we're not seeing that right now, are we?
There is no way Parliament can be independent from the executive. There is no way. That is another mistake that the drafters of the Constitution did. And every time I've asked Tienda Molo that when you people who call yourself committee of experts, when you are drafting this law, when you are anchoring this statement in the Constitution, were you alive to the fact that there is no single day as currently constituted that the Parliament of Kenya, the National Assembly and the Senate will be independent, will do their activities away from the executive? There is no way.
Why is that?
This is because Parliament is made up of members of Parliament. These members of Parliament, some are elected, others some are sponsored by their various parties before they are elected. Others run as an independent candidate. They're not members of any political party. Others are nominated by political parties. The person who is in charge of the political party, for example, now UDA, is the President of the Republic of Kenya. This is a person who is supposed to chair parliamentary group meetings, party meetings, where party matters are discussed, and there is a thin line between him appearing as a party leader and him appearing as president. When, for example, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto convenes a meeting at the State House, a parliamentary group meeting at State House, and we are discussing issues that the government will bring in Parliament, and we are all discussing there. We are disagreeing to agree, you know. So how then can you now say that Parliament is independent? So
then what happens to the Kenyans who actually elect leaders to go and fight for them? Because clearly that's not happening.
The same Kenyans who elect president, the same president who is supposed to drive the development agenda for this country is elected by the same people who elect members of Parliament. So whoever said that the National Assembly is independent is just independent on paper, because the leader of the largest coalition in the National Assembly, as we speak today, is the President of the Republic of Kenya.
So then we need to change our constitution?
And when he convenes a parliamentary group meeting, when he discusses about the agenda of the coalition of the party, the same agenda of the coalition of the party is the same agenda of government.
So then, that's why I'm asking, so then do we change the constitution altogether, since the 2010 constitution is not serving in certain regards?
We don't have to, and if we want Parliament to be independent, maybe we change our constitution to say that anybody who wants to run for President of the Republic of Kenya, you need not to be a member of any political party for a period of 6 months prior to his or her submitting the documents to IEBC for clearance. Maybe that is what maybe we need to do. But as long as we continue to elect the president, who is a member of a political party, there is no way the National Assembly can be independent. So the second thing which we need to do as a country is that we need to come out of age in terms of being driven by personal desires and personal gains to the level where we are being driven by the interest of the people. Because when we begin to be driven by the interest that will affect the well-being of the society, then standing at some point and taking a shot at all the arms of government, then you will see that all these arms of government, they are being driven by the welfare of the society interdependently. The reason why Kenyans said we must have a parliament that is independent, we must have the judiciary that is independent, is because the previous presidents were interfering with the work of, they were directing how other arms of government should operate, not to the benefit of the society. but with the benefit of a few people.
Okay, Mheshimiwa, so what you're trying to say right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that Kenyans are on their own at the moment.
What do you mean by Kenyans are on their own at the moment?
You've just said that Parliament cannot be independent from the executive. That means Parliament will play to the executive's tune, right? What about the Kenyans who are hoping that Parliament will help, alleviate their struggles?
You know, it's not that, that is why I think the only thing that I support from NADCO report is the support for the establishment of a powerful leader of opposition. When you have a powerful leader of opposition who has an office that is well kitted, well remunerated, and then it becomes apparently clear that the watchdog committees of Parliament that are supposed to check on the expenditure of government, viability of government investments, are in the hands or rather controlled by this powerful leader of the opposition, then this leader of the opposition will only assist the government in stretching her hand beyond the normal, in flagging out the gray areas in the expenditure, in our investment plan. That is the only thing that will now make the opposition to play a meaningful role.
How then? Because what people say, minority have their say, majority have their way. So even with the establishment of the office of the opposition, either way, Parliament, if the majority is UDA, they will sing and play UDA's tune, right?
And that is the desire of any political party that forms government. Any political party that forms government, you will want to have the majority. I heard Kalonzo Musyoka crying the other day that when Kenya Kwanza government came into power, that there are some members of Asmio that ran from their coalition and they registered, their support to the government. It so happens. Even the opposition, they have, nobody stops them from convincing members of the ruling party to denounce their cooperation with the ruling party and go to work with them. Nothing stops them. It's about persuasion. These are grown-ups. These are not small children. These are distinguished Kenyans. These are honorable members of Parliament. So if Kenya Kwanza government, Kenya Kwanza coalition persuaded them that, please, we admire your intelligence. We know that you are very knowledgeable on a number of issues that we feel will go to waste if you continue sitting in the opposition benches, and that your knowledge will be, the Kenyans will be able to tap into your intelligence, into your knowledge. They will benefit out of your knowledge if you will come and work with us. And you see, what Kenya Kwanza is doing that is different from what the previous governments have done is that anything that is coming in the National Assembly for debate, whether it's a law or a policy that we did Parliament to approve, because Parliament approves both policy and laws. Policies we approve them through committees. The head of state will call us, will convene a meeting, and then we will have an interactive discussion. If we have an issue, we will ask questions. We will register our opposition to whatever he is suggesting, and then he will persuade us. Okay. The agency will persuade us that you are opposing this because you are saying this must be done. Then we get the middle ground. We are able to amend the draft legislative proposal before it becomes the legislative proposal.
Okay.
Rather, I can, all legislative proposals are formed, or rather they grew, or they germinate from an idea. So our president will float ideas on what you want to do with NHIF, what you want to do with the health sector, what you want to do with the road department, aviation, name them.
Okay.
So we will beef up that idea. We will say your idea, it's good, but we need to answer a few questions.
All right.
He will do it very nicely, then we will agree, we will assist him in putting flesh to this idea before it's birthed to become a legislative proposal.
Okay, I want us to move on to something different since you've brought up the issue of UDA and speaking of the ruling party. We've seen infighting in UDA with a section of party members, you included, calling for the resignation of SG Cleophas Malala. Why do you believe that the SG is out to destroy the party?
You know, I had a problem with the Secretary General of UDA, Cleophas Malala. You know, the Kenya Kwanza coalition is a coalition of parties, a number of parties. And, you know, we won elections by a whisker. The difference between what our captain, His Excellency William Ruto, got and what the Dian of opposition politics, Raila Amolo Odinga, got is very small. It's less than 300,000 votes. Therefore, each and every vote counted, whether you brought 10,000, whether somebody brought 20, whether somebody brought 5. We respect all those kind of leaders. So when Cleophas Malala began to disparage ANC, Salam Davadi, Fort Kenya, Moses Wetangula, I felt in my own heart that this is not proper. We need to persuade him. We need to speak with him, and the differences that he had with many other people cannot be seen to mean wrangles. These are just camps. You know, UDA had called for elections to elect officials of the party, and when elections are called, of course, you will have people who support different candidates who will come out and say, so-and-so who won this position is not a good person for this position. Of course, you know, Cleophas Malala is not, is an acting Secretary General. He doesn't hold that position substantively. So it was not wrangles per se. And the differences that we will see here and there is a difference of opinion. Kenya Kwanza coalition is a coalition of democracy. You've never seen us as a coalition de-whipping or you know, labeling a member of parliament who has a contrary view as a rebel. You know, we have people who have got different opinions, even during the voting for the finance bill 2023. We have a number of members of parliament who voted against it. Even this housing bill that Senate just approved, we have some members of parliament who are opposed to it. I'll give you an example of Honorable Gadhoni Wamshomba. She has been very consistent and very categorical to say, I'm not supporting this, but she continues to be a chair of a departmental committee of a National Assembly. There is no single day that the party hierarchy has met to discuss her contract, because we feel it's her democratic right, depending on what instructions the people of Githunguri have given her. We've got to respect her, you know. It is not the first time. Even some of us and very many members of parliament during the reign of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, there are some of the bills that the Ruto government brought to the National Assembly, including the purported the increase of VAT levy from 8% to 16%. Some of us, you remember, many of us, we did not support that idea. We opposed it. But the government by then, they whipped most of us from committees. You know, they began to sanction police to arrest us. Most of us faced a number of trumped-up charges, left, right, and center. For example, myself and the other members of parliament, we had cases in every part of the country where there was a by-election. We had a case in Msambweni where we had a by-election and voted for the first time for a UDA candidate in what's it called, in Juja, when we were supporting Koimburi during a by-election after the death of the then member of parliament for Juja. We had cases there. We had cases in Rurie, in Nyandarua. We had cases in Kapchai. We had cases in Kiamba where we were supporting Kawanjuku. Those cases have never taken up. Every time I call the various OCSs about this case, that we were taken to court to plea, but the case have never taken up. So we Kenyans must begin to appreciate that the Kenya Kwanza government is a government that respects the diversity of opinions. That today, if you come up and say, you've seen very many people even
so the government does respect the diversity of opinions, but we've seen in countless times the blatant disrespect of court orders, right?
A court order is not an opinion. Disrespecting a court order, of course, you know, in my view, there is no single court order that this our government has disobeyed. And I will give you very many examples.
Give me one.
The government or the court said that we should not proceed with these issues of CIS. We stopped. Of course, we followed their guidelines. Now we have a law in Parliament, which I think we should be able to pass it very soon.
Yes.
That we are going to realign the opinion of the court with the law. We have got these issues of affordable housing that the court had issues with it, and the courts gave their opinion. We took the opinion of the court to change that idea into a law, which we approved that law today. And I think in the next few days or few hours, maybe Saturday, that law will be ascended to by the president to be the law.
Okay.
So we take the opinion of the court very, 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 very seriously. What we have been against is at times when the judicial officers will just stop a government process without giving a guideline. Mm-hmm. You know, the courts are is an arbiter. They adjudicate between where there are conflicts, yeah? And the courts must also be beneficial to the country. When somebody goes to court and say, I am challenging this project because it doesn't conform with the law, you have to look at the bigger picture in terms of how is this project going to benefit Kenyans. Then the court, instead of just stopping it, they should be able to provide a legal opinion, a legal advisory.
Okay.
And even give the national, government, you know, a deadline. I would want to see our court saying that going through this petition by the petitioner, we feel that these projects will benefit thousands of Kenyans. And we feel as a court that this and that should be changed. The same way they said about this affordable housing, they say that is a bit discriminatory because it was allowing some Kenyans to benefit and excluding other people. Yeah, those are the opinions that, in my view, are progressive. Because, you know, a court judiciary doesn't live in isolation. They should be part, the judiciary exists to support governments, to carry out its agenda and to the benefit of the general population of our country.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about Chapter 6 of the Constitution, that is the integrity of leaders. You've been involved in a few controversies, and it's not just limited to yourself. But Chapter 6 of our Constitution talks about leadership and integrity and how leaders are expected to bring honor to the nation and dignity to the office. We've not been seeing this happen. And let's not just forget that Kenyans, especially young Kenyans, are looking up to leaders as, you know, people who are setting examples. So if we have leaders embroiled in controversies, what are we showing our young ones?
The definition of a controversy is debatable.
Okay.
And it's very wide. Yeah? Somebody can even can say that because you are wearing a don't touch trouser, then that is you are controversial.
Okay, let me...
And I think this word of, a controversial member of parliament is a creation of the media. You see the headline saying, the controversial member of parliament for Kimilili, the controversial member of parliament for Embakasi East. You know, when you are arriving at whether an individual has gone against Chapter 6 of the integrity of our Constitution, you don't arrive at that conclusion through hearsays, through gossip, through innuendos, you know?
But at times we see it. We've seen leaders fight, right, in public. Isn't that in itself, a violation of Chapter 6?
It's not that you see leaders fight in public. Fighting in public has got nothing to do with contravening Chapter 6 of the Constitution. You have to look at the scenario, the situation itself. For example, let me ask you an example.
Okay, sure.
Even a media personnel, the way you carry yourself, you have to carry yourself within the precincts of the integrity that are required.
You don't see media personalities fight.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
If you find yourself in a meeting in a group of people, and then skirmishes erupt, so you have to defend yourself as you scamper to safety.
So you're saying whatever we've been seeing is leaders defending themselves?
A member of parliament. A member of parliament.
Okay.
A member of parliament is part of our society. A media personnel is part of our society. A police officer is part of our society. The way you, the blood that flows in you is the same blood that flows in me. Yeah? At times, you see even in political rallies, we have got this animosity, an opponent comes with goons, there is a fight, But I want to ask you also a question. Have you ever seen me fight?
But I'm the one who's asking.
Have you ever seen me fight anywhere?
Well, there has been instances where it's been reported. Whether it's been proven or not, that's a debate for another day. What I'm asking, and that's why I say it's not limited to you. We've seen leaders, various places, engaged in fighting. So then, and they, what's the word? My words are even, getting lost. And they then really, see, my words has even gotten lost. But either way, Chapter 6 of the Constitution, when you're supposed to hold an office as a member of parliament, as a leader, you're supposed to have integrity, dignity of that office. When you're fighting, is it dignified?
Every elected leader within the territory of the Republic of Kenya, their integrity is above board. Yeah? That is why these are leaders that are never unilaterally appointed by one individual. They are elected by Kenyans.
Yes, and the same Kenyans are looking up to you.
The same Kenyans, if they are unhappy with the conduct of a member of parliament, after 5 years, they have an opportunity to reverse that decision. They have a responsibility to send that leader home or to bring him back.
Okay.
At times we miss the mark. Members of parliament and members of the county assemblies, they are elected by a popular vote. They go campaigning. The people vote for a manifesto or for a plan. Yeah? These things to do with he fought here, he beat that, are neither here nor there.
Okay. Let's move on to other issues. Of course, there's talk on the ground that you're planning on vying for the governor's seat come 2027. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I will be running for governor of Bungoma. I want to represent the people of Bungoma as their governor in the 2027 general elections.
Yeah.
Of course, after the current governor, His Excellency Ken Lusaka, will have served his 2 terms that are allowed by the Constitution. And I will offer myself among other candidates who may have declared their interest we will be competing to run for the governor of Bungoma.
What makes you so sure you're the perfect candidate for that?
I'm the perfect candidate because I come from the populous constituency of the young people. The populous constituency in this country is a constituency of people that are aged between 18 and 45. And I think I resonate very well with them. And the second thing is that when I came in for the first time as a member of parliament for Kimilili constituency, I think I utilized CDF in a manner that many people began to think that Kimilili constituency get more money than many other constituencies, which is not the fact. It's not the case. In Bungoma County, for example, we have 9 constituencies. Out of 9 constituencies, in terms of ranking, if you are going by the number of money the constituency receive from national government CDF for development, Kimilili, we are out of 9 constituencies, we are number 8. Mm-hmm. We are number 7 rather. The only constituency that is behind us is Sirisha constituency, and of course we tie with Kapchai, so there is no number 8.
Okay.
So Kimilili and Kapchai, we are at number 9. But number 1, that constituency that gets more money is Kandui constituency. Then the second one is Bumula constituency. We have Tongaren. Then we have Mount Elgon. Then we have, I think, Kimilili and Kapchai tying. Yeah. And then we have, I think, Webuye West, Webuye East, and Sirisha. I think we are around number 6.
Okay, and are you planning on vying on a UDA ticket?
You know, we are in a Kenya Kwanza coalition government.
Yes.
And when you are a governor, you are a local leader. You are not a national leader. But when you are a member of parliament, you are a national leader. That's why I can rise on the floor of the National Assembly to ask for a question that concerns the people of Kwale, that concerns the people of Garissa, the people of Mandera. So we'll have to look at which is this party that is controlling the assembly of Bungoma. And of course, I will offer myself to go the Sakaja way. You know, Sakaja was running for, was a candidate for ANC. You know, ANC is the one that sponsored Sakaja to run for governor of Nairobi. But at the time when we came together as a coalition and we analyzed various facts, you know, in terms of which party is more popular in Nairobi, which party has fielded more MCA candidates for nomination, then the answer was UDA. So we persuaded Musalia and Sakaja to drop their quest for Sakaja to run on ANC, and we gave him a UDA ticket.
So there's chance that maybe Ford Kenya, considering Ford Kenya.
Absolutely, yeah. We will. Definitely today, if you go and look at the county assembly of Bungoma, the majority party is Ford Kenya. So I wouldn't want to go through the Kawira Mwangaza scenario where Kawira Mwangaza is an independent governor, is a governor of people of Meru, but she doesn't have she never went through a party. So the popular party then, you know, threatens impeachment. So I wouldn't want to go through those kind of things where the MCAs who are majorly from Ford Kenya who want to threaten to impeach me or something else. Our responsibility as the people of Bungoma is to support our president to go for a second term. And I have my own ambition. My ambition to be governor of Bungoma. So chances are that I will run on a Ford Kenya ticket.
Parting shot, Mheshimiwa, even as we conclude.
Yeah, I think as a country, I appreciate that we have had very huge and hard economic times. We came in when you know, the cost of living was very high. We were faced with this monster of Eurobond that matured early this year as a government. We found that the coffers of the treasury were completely very empty, you know, with the traces and history that the previous regime emptied treasury, loaded money on trucks, transit goods, and went away with the money.
We cannot prove that at the moment, can we?
That's why I'm telling you.
Okay.
Yes, what we found, it was clear even, it don't surprise me as a media personnel that you are not aware. The Auditor General, the Controller of Budget, came out and said that I was told, coerced to approve withdrawal of more than 15 billion of shillings in a few hours on this particular day to the run-up in this particular day. So it's in public domain, it can be proved, it's a fact, it exists. And that when we came in amidst all these challenges, as a government, we have held so many meetings. We have held, our first parliamentary group meeting was one of its own kind, because we had a candid discussion about, we gave various views on how we are going to reconstruct our economy, how we are going to get our country back on track. And I am happy today that the Kenya Kwanza government has been vilified, has been vindicated, that today we're beginning to see the dollar dropping. You're beginning to see the Kenyan currency gaining strength day after day. And going by the statement that was released today by the governor of Central Bank, that in the next 2 weeks, the cost of dollar will be retailing at around 130 or 131, 150, 115 shillings. That's a good thing to hear. And today I'm also a happy man that the cost of fuel is going down. The cost of unga is going down. And I can only urge my friends in the opposition, the Asmio members of parliament, to at least who are demonstrating, who are wearing sufurias on their head, I want to ask them that they become gentlemen and women, to call upon their supporters, at least to go to the streets, not to demonstrate, but at least to celebrate that the cost of unga has come down, the cost of fuel has come down, the cost of dollar has come down. It's because the characteristics of a mature democracy, of a mature country, is to learn to appreciate that the efforts of government is yielding some fruits, not just to be lamenting every day. And I also want to ask the media that was on the forefront, highlighting the problem that our country was going through, that were debating about, the impact of our currency losing value, the impact of the high cost of fuel. I also now want to call upon you to join the rest of the Kenyan patriots into at least appreciating and highlighting some of the fruits of government interventions that have so far seen the reduction of the cost of the basic commodities and the increase of the strength and the value of the Kenyan currency. You must be at least objective by this time around.
Okay.
Yes.
Though we even highlighted that today, this evening, but thank you so much, Honorable Didmus Barasa Kimilili, Member of Parliament. And I am Ashley Mazuri, and that's how we wrap things up here on KTN Prime. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you next week. Same place, same time.